Okay, we're out at the Crofton Avenue condominium complex, and basically we have 7 units in here that we are doing siding on. For the sake of all the units, we're doing the same scope of work, so nothing's changing. So it's a consistent scope of work, and basically it should make it pretty easy to move through and navigate through the project. But we will talk about some specifics as far as what we're doing. We are doing, the style of siding is going to be the custom colonial smooth 8-inch board. So we're doing that on all the sidewalls. We're doing a very conservative tear off, so only the areas that are rotten of the existing siding are the areas that we're going to be tearing off. Everything else will be an overlay. What does need to be torn off will be cut out and replaced with an equal thickness sheathing. We'll install our Hardie wrap on top of that, and then of course all our exterior trim, corner trim, door trim, window trim will be installed, and then the siding. We're doing a fascia overlay with the Hardie material, and the metal roof here is, the complex was built in the 80s. The metal roof is, I'd say probably fairly new-ish. So what we're going to have to do, basically, there's an integrated drip edge that you can see up there. So there you go. So you can see that metal drip edge. We're going to have to use basically like a Z-flash to get up under that metal drip, and then put our fascia up under that. So that'll be the scope of work for the fascia, is a fascia overlay with the Z-flash component to it. We are going to, underneath, excuse me, we're going to paint all the soffit. So there's beautiful kind of beadboard soffit with the roofed rafter tails exposed. Really looks nice, and it's kind of consistent with the neighborhood and the timepiece. So we're going to keep that and just paint all the soffit. A lot of the units, I don't know about all of them, but a couple of the units have these porch columns. Those are going to all be painted, and we are going to paint all the garage doors. So looking at a pretty simple color palette. It's all the garage doors are going to be the same. All the trim and fascia is going to be the same on all units. The only thing that will differ from unit to unit is the actual body color, and we're going to pick a 3-color palette for the body color. Again, all trim, all fascia, all soffit, all garage doors, and all columns will be the same color. Well, the garage doors will all be the same color. All the other trim will be the same color. So it's 2 colors total that will cover all of the fascia and trim, soffit, and then the garage doors will be 2 separate colors, but they will all be the same from unit to unit. So that's pretty much the main thing we're looking at. This unit that we're standing in front of right now, it's 100 Crofton Ave. That is Tom's unit. We are also doing windows, Vistamark windows, in this unit as well. So we converted a couple windows, but this is the only unit as of right now that we're doing windows in. So these are all common wall properties. So I can't get back here entirely. Yeah, I can't. But you can see kind of the work. It's just a lot of wall, but there's no inner wall because they're all joined together. They all have chimneys. Chimneys we're doing a full tear off on, so we got to make sure that there's no rot. They've done a lot of work on the chimneys prior to us coming out, so a lot of them have been fixed up, but some have not. So we need to do a full tear off on the chimneys just to make sure that we can inspect all the framing, and we covered a good portion of the framing that needs to be replaced. So that is something we will be doing. We'll be reframing or replacing any rot, and then siding the chimneys. So a couple areas where the gutters, there are gutters, so that guttering is going to have to come down and then be reinstalled. You can kind of see there's minor few areas. There's one area right here where the fascia is rotted, right on that edge, you can tell. But if we have any rot on the fascia, we're going to replace that first before we do our fascia overlay. But again, a lot of these are 3 units here on this side, and then there's 4 units in the back along the Riverwalk. So they're all joined together, which means there's, you know, a back wall and maybe one side wall on each complex, and then the fronts. But there's not 2 sidewalls for every house, for every condo. So that'll make that pretty nice, pretty easy to work with there. So that's what we got here. Again, this front portion is 3 units joined together, and then the rear portion is 4 units joined together that all back up to the Riverwalk. So we'll walk around here. This is our driveway. We're going to come down here. They had a real bad experience with the roofing company that did the roof. A lot of nails left in the, you know, in the drive here. Just trash in the backyard. So Tom did bring that up, and we need to make sure that we do an exceptional job of not only dragging the area and picking up nails so nobody's getting flat tires, but also just picking up after ourselves like we do, you know, to make sure that trash isn't in the yards and all that kind of stuff, because their roofing experience was not a good one. So this is very typical, kind of what you can see here. Pretty straightforward, nothing crazy. Gable vent, windows, will all be wrapped in 1x4. This wall here is pretty rough. We're gonna have to probably tear off most of this wall. Up here you can see not only is the paint failing, but the boards are warping, twisting, and kind of racking a little bit. So we'll have to do a fair amount of tear off up here. But again, as you can see, we're not doing any repair or anything to the garage doors. We're strictly painting them. We did not include any kind of painting on the front doors. So if they want to add that in, that would have to be added in. That's not something that's included in our scope. But for the homes that do have there's only probably a couple of them that actually have front porch columns, those will be painted. You can see in here, kind of got little knickknacks and intricacies here as far as inside, you know, the little walkways back to the actual units. And then up top, you can see there's probably a 4 or 5 foot wall up there that runs along right here that needs to be addressed. Actually, on this unit here, I did windows, a couple windows, not the whole place, but I did windows for them like 5-6 years ago. Just totally unrelated to this project, but I came back here for the first time and this looked awfully familiar to me. So here's a big wall. So again, this is the end wall of the 3 unit front complex. And this right here is 103. So we had 101 out in the front, 102 in the middle. This is unit 103. We will have some tear off all the electrical boxes. So we will have some tear off from the electrician of these boxes. And then there's some more boxes that we'll look at on the back side of this unit right here. So this wall's in great shape. It's a great candidate for overlay. And doing what we do there, just have to tear off the boxes. They all have the porch ceiling, so we'll paint these porch ceilings. This is a very common porch ceiling. And then here's a column. Has that nice kind of fluted look to it, but all that is just getting painted and nothing else here. So those are the front 3. And as we move to the back, the Riverwalk is actually just behind these 4 homes here. So 201, that's Rudy Valdez. So he is the one that's the lone one that's paying for his portion separate. The other 6 units were covered under the HOA account. So we have 201, we have 202, we have 203, and then we have 204, which is the kind of the greenish house kind of right here that goes this way. That's 204. So these are the 4 again. You can see they're all joined up and married up, have a common wall. So we have one exterior side wall on Rudy's property, and then we have exterior wall on Catherine's property down here. So that's what we got. And then just a little fascia. We have some rakes. You can see a rake here, a little rake run right there. We have a little rake wall on the side here. There's a couple porch columns right in there. See, there's 2. So those again will be painted. Porch ceilings will be painted. But all the 1x4 trim around the gable vents, which is these little guys, the windows, and then the doors on the front porches those will all be retrimmed in the Hardie 1x4, as well as all these exterior corners. That kind of goes without saying, but all these exterior corners and then the garage door frames, all 7 of them, will all be wrapped in the Hardie 1x4. So we'll start on this side here. This is probably going to be our main point of entry to all of the backs of these units, and we'll have to make sure that Tom keeps the gate open, and then each property owner is notified when it's going to be their day for install, so they can keep their property gates open. And the property gates open up back to kind of this Riverwalk area. So this is pretty much our pathway to getting access to the backs of the home. So there's a gate on here that stays locked. There's a Riverwalk right down there with the pathway, the bike pathway. And then here's the rear of the homes. These chimneys, in kind of my observation, are worse than the front 3. So they're probably where a lot of the reframing will have to take place, is on these back 4. But you can see here, the patio cover's detached. And then it's pretty typical. Again, may have some guttering up there. But each unit has its own gate. So here's the main gate that we'll go out of, that we'll have to have access to. But then each of the 4 units has its own personal gate, which again, we'll just have to coordinate with each unit, saying, hey, we're gonna need access Tuesday through Friday. We're gonna be doing your project, and just make sure that we have the gate open so they have free access. But this is, again, you can't see much because of all the nice trees, but this is the backside to all of these 4 units. And pretty much the same thing. Again, you have some rakes in there, but there's no, interior or middle wall. They all share a common wall. So, and then we have our access right back here. Clear pathway, for us to walk, so we can get back there to the back side of each unit. So we'll come around front here. One thing on Rudy's soffit, this really the only thing so we have a little rot right here, and this is on unit 201, a little rot right here, and then a little rot kind of going on right here. It's just a poor design with that kind of valley right there, and then that being completely filled up, with leaves. It's caused probably a little overrun, which is causing a little rot right down here. But that's a little repair work we'll have to do. Other than that, it's just painting this beam, and then painting this column. So that's what we have there. But again, a good portion of this is a great candidate for overlay. I mean, this wall here is perfect shape for overlay. So that's what we have there. And then we'll just take a quick run to see the back side of Catherine's condo. So you have a couple porch columns there. Again, not doing anything with the front doors, just doing our 1x4 trim, painting the columns, painting the porch ceiling. So then you have back in here, kind of the same thing. You have a little wall on this side of the garage, and then you have this wall that leads up to the entryway. And then on the back side here, this is the back side of Catherine's condo. Here's the 4 boxes. So just like there, this area will have to be peeled away so we can do our siding. And then again, this back wall is in great shape, so probably all of this is going to be overlay, and then reattach the boxes once we're done. And then this backs up again to the Riverwalk. This is a little pathway back to the Riverwalk. And then here you can see, this is a picture of the backside, the vantage point of the backside of the front 3 units. So we have 1, 2, and then Tom's is the darker of the 3 down there. So that's kind of what that looks like there. That's pretty much what we got. This area is going to be, we have this area and then maybe some area